Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are new to the channel here, this is episode 166 of me tracking my net worth from the time that I turned 18 years old until today, which I am 31 and probably 5 months old right now. So started at 18 in May of 2012, sorry about that. And yeah, here we are in 2025, and we'll see how my net worth is doing. You may be pleasantly surprised, so we'll take you on this journey here in just the next few minutes. So income here, I am currently working in the pharmaceutical industry. I cut firewood. I work as a real estate agent. I have rental properties. And so over the last roughly 12, 13 years, I've really built the income portion pretty good. So when I started in 2012, I was making about $5,000 a year. Again, I had just graduated from high school. 2013, 2014, I was able to get a full-time job while going through college. I was able to get that up to 17 and then 38,000. This year, my goodness, I think I worked like 70 hours a week on average at 11.95 an hour for a full year while going to school full time just to get that 39,000. So kind of hovered around there for a few years. Here's 2016, I was still at 36,000. I started focusing on real estate as well. My wife was also going through school and just working part-time, so that was her income here. She graduated in 2016 and got a full-time job for about 20,000. So she moved up to 30 in 2017, I moved up to 43, then got a big jump, moved to a different pharmaceutical company, moved up to 85. And again, this whole entire time, we've also been kind of flipping houses on the side, buying rental properties, just saving up money and buying good deals in real estate, which is this rental other column here. And then any additional income, just income that we don't expect to receive, I keep track of that in other as well. So you can see what the total is for each year, what the total is for each month, where all the money went, and then how much we made gross and then take home here as well. So just to quickly kind of go through, by year 7, I was at 69,000. Year 8, I was at 75,000. Year 9, I was at 98,000. Moved to 126. After that, I think I was a manager at a pharmaceutical company. And then I really had a big career switch and went to work for a larger pharmaceutical company after that in 2013. Got a massive sign-on bonus of 60,000 in March of 2023, which is when I joined. And so 2023, I doubled the income to 245,000. And then this whole time as well, we've been owning a couple rentals. So those make about 25 a month. And here we are today. We finished 2024 and we have 3 months left in 2025. So I am on pace for the year to make about 250,000. We had another good bonus in March as well. And so, yeah, that's how it's looking. I'm making almost $14,000 a month. And then taxes did go down because of Social Security. I did went ahead and maxed that out in August. So they no longer take Social Security from my paychecks throughout the end of the year, and then that will pick back up again in January. But take-home pay for the month was 9,652. Next month will be a 3-month, 3-paycheck month, so it should look similar to what May does here, except I'll probably make 1,500-ish take-home pay, I would guess, by the end of the month. So October should be pretty good. For my wife here, she made 1,454. She's an adjunct teacher, mainly stays home with our daughter. She's teaching 4 credit hours, I believe, at our local college this semester, so that's why her income has went up. But she's able to do that all remote. The last thing I'll mention for rental income. So we have 2 rental properties right now. We've owned them for about 5 years. One of them, we had the very first turnover on September the 7th in the last 5 years. So we've had no turnover in 5 years. So this account is kind of taking a bit of a hit right now. One of the rentals are currently rented at $13.50 a month. So I did have to return some deposit money in September, and then I am currently it's vacant. I'm going through ripping carpet out, building a new shower, painting, new light fixtures, things like that, just to spruce it up a little bit since it's been 5 years. So it's currently not rented. I'm not too worried about this. I probably have another week or two of fixing the place up, and then I'll have it rented out probably mid to late October. So we'll get that rented out before the end of the year again. Other income, you'll notice $8,000 of other income this month. So I did sell a pretty large property in my local area as a realtor. So my commission from that was exactly $8,000. So that's what that 8,000 is there. So total income for the month was 24,800, and take home pay was 20,000. So for the year, I'm at 272,000 of income. And then some of my goals just down here at the bottom real quick. These are some things that I shoot for. This is essentially all of the take-home money that I've made in my life is 1.6 million. So that was kind of the first goal, is can my net worth be equivalent to what my take-home pay has been? This second one adds in some of the like HSAs, 401ks. So this is how much I've made if you include take-home pay, HSAs, 401ks, some of those other funds. And then this third goal here, which I've not hit yet, is well, I guess I've not hit either one of these, 2 or 3. But this is basically take my gross income from everything throughout my lifetime, and it would be 2.4 million. And so that is goal number 3. So hopefully I can hit goal number 2 here pretty soon at 2 million, but we're just slightly behind that. So jumping into net worth here, it's not going to look too different than what the past few months have looked. Really, we've not done anything too drastic, which is perfectly fine because we're doing pretty good for this year. So I think we're up 350,000 compared to 12 months ago, September 2024. So house number 5, house number 7, these are the 2 rental properties. They're financed on 30-year fixed rates at like 3% interest. So not super concerned about getting those paid off. My wife and I live on 66 acres of land and built our house out here. So combined total, the land and the house is worth about 1.2 million. Honestly, I think it's probably worth 1.4 to 1.5 million. However, it would take us forever to sell it in our area. There's just not very many people that can afford a $1.4 million house in the area of the United States that we live in. So if I did try to sell this, it'd probably take me a year or two just to sell this for what the house is worth. But we don't plan on moving, so that's kind of how that's looking. But roughly 1.2 to 1.5 million is our primary residence. We've got 3 vehicles, 2 of them, the 2022 truck and 2025 Sportage. Both of those are completely paid off, paid cash for both of those. The 1946 Chevy is just inheritance from my great grandfather. And again, I'll just keep this until I'm a great grandfather, hopefully, and pass it down 70 years from now. Investments, things have just been going up, honestly, which is great, but also a bit concerning. So we had a dip in April, and I mentioned to everybody, this is not financial advice. This is just what I am doing. I thought things were overvalued in January, so I did go pretty heavily in cash in January 2025. I did buy back in late March and early April, so that's why you really didn't see a dip here. I know the market went down roughly, 20%, 25% in April of this year. And so really I went up 637 to 651. So I did buy in pretty heavily in April as we had that 25% crash. Specifically April 6th, 7th, and 8th were the 3 days I bought in pretty heavily. So since then I've been holding and holding and holding. So that's went from 637 all the way up to 739. And again, we're at all-time highs. I do keep semi good track of how the market's doing. Usually, I'm just an index fund style investor, S&P 500, and maybe some dividend index funds. Once in a while, I will buy individual stocks, but not as frequently as index funds. I will say though, I do keep tabs on how the market is doing. So more like what is the average PE ratio of the S&P 500? I think we're at 36 right now. The Shiller PE ratio is 39 to 40, which is like one of the highest it's ever been. So this does make me a little bit concerned. So I am, starting to sell overpriced positions that I don't think that I think have substantial downside risk. So for example, I did sell Google. I purchased Google in April 2025, and it went up 85% since then in the last 5 months. So I went ahead and sold Google from the portfolio. I'd rather just lock in those gains and not have the downside risk if something were to happen. So we do have a lot of uncertainty on the horizon. So I'd say roughly right now I'm maybe 500,000 of this 740,000 is in cash or money markets, and so they're making about 4%. I did estimate in January what I would be at by the end of 2025, and it's funny because I had anticipated us being roughly 692,000, and we have completely blown past that. We're already at 740,000. which is, yeah, that's way past what I thought we should have been at. So I'm happy with the gains I've made this year. I'm probably up maybe 20%. S&P's maybe up 17% this year. So again, I'm just trying to deleverage some of the risk. If the S&P were at a fair price and Shiller PE was not at 40, I would probably be more heavily invested. But the 200,000 that I do have invested are primarily in one substantially good company. That it's a non-U.S. company, so it trades off of volatility. And so if the VIX moves up, it will well, historically what it has done is double, if not triple. And then even if the VIX does not go up, they trade off of volume, and so they make revenue based off trading volume. And so either way, regardless, the company is probably 15% annual return. So most of what I have invested is in that one specific company. So 740,000 roughly in investment accounts. For debts, primarily these three up here. I'm not really focused on them right now, just making minimum payments to all three of those. The house that my wife and I live in is at 5.25% interest on a 30-year fixed. So you did see a giant decrease compared to August of 2025 last month. So we did pay off about what 13,300 this month, and largely that was due to the $8,000 of realtor income that I received. So we did also save about 4,000 this month. So what was our total take home pay? I actually want to take a look at that real quick. Our total take home was 20,000, and we put about 14,000 towards the house. So it looks like we spent about 6,000 on everything else. So that's food. Yeah, I mean, food, dining, going out to eat, utility bills, all that kind of stuff. So looks like our burn is roughly 6,000, and I will say a lot of that too goes into paying the minimum payments on these three as well. So really, I think we spend about 2,500 to 3,500 a month. So I will admit, at this point, I don't really track spending as closely as I had a couple years ago. When the net worth was around 100,000 to 500,000, I was tracking, multiple times a month, where income was going and what we were spending money on. Now I usually will run it like once a quarter. I'll just pull an Excel download from my bank statements, and then it auto categorizes everything in my Excel sheet. So, and largely I can see too here, if our checkings is dwindling down from 40,000, then essentially we're spending more money than we're making, and we've never really had that problem. Once in a while we'll be barely under if it's, have to pay house insurance or some giant bill comes due that month. But speaking of all that stuff, I will have quite a bit to pay in the next few months. I have property taxes again that I have to pay, which is $5,000, which is due on November 10th. I've got car insurance that I have to pay, which is $500 for the three cars listed above. I've got registration I have to pay, which is about $500. I've got house insurance that's due in January, which is like $1,100. So throughout the end of the year, we do have some bigger expenses coming in, but it does help that additional income's coming in too, since I'm not paying Social Security tax. So yeah, house is now under 300,000. So I will say I am definitely ready to get this thing paid off. It's been about 3 years now that we've been focusing on paying off our primary residence. We started at about 700,000, and so we paid off about 406,000 in 3 years. So I do have some tricks up my sleeve, though. I mentioned that in the last few videos. I think once this gets down to about 130, then I'll be able just to knock it out with everything else. So I've got some Roth money that's sitting here, some 457B that's sitting here. And really, from my understanding, I'm fine to take money out of the Roth and the 457B and pay taxes on that money. Our mortgage payment on just this house here is $2,813 per month. So just by me pulling that money out, that is essentially $3,000 a month that we can save extra every month. So once our primary residence is paid off, the goal will quickly shift to buying rental properties again. And that is what I'm looking forward to. Because my goodness, there are so many deals in my areas where you can get 15 to 20% cash on cash returns that I'm having to pass up. So, yeah, so I probably have roughly 1 year, if not the latest March of 2027, when I'm able to sell some stock and I get my yearly bonus at work. I'm pretty sure by March 2027, this will be completely gone, and then our house will be paid for. So we won't have that $3,000 a month payment. For checkings, I keep the checkings at 40,000. So again, we actually saved about 13 to 14,000. So this was at 54,000. Anything extra, I pay towards house number 8, the house we live in, and just dwindle this back down to 40,000. And again, our expenses are like, I don't know, maybe 3,000 to 5,000 a month if you count in mortgage payments. And so 40,000 would, let us go 8 months, 9 months. So a 9 month emergency fund is 40,000 for us. The last thing, rental checkings account. I mentioned earlier we've got one rental property that is vacant right now. So this is why this account's taken such a big hit. And just a forewarning, it will probably take an even bigger hit by September or by October next month. So we probably have $3,000 to $4,000 more of expenses in that account, which is perfectly fine. Again, it's been rented for 5 years, and honestly, I do need some uh, deductions in terms of taxes to write off some of this money. So all of this, I'll just do straight line depreciation on all of this in year one, and then get rid of some of the taxable income that I might have for the rental properties. So, or at least get closer to being in the negative to offset some of the W-2 income as well. So overall, net worth is at 1,910,000. So it's going to be close, guys. We're 90,000 away from the multi-million-dollar mark. Again, 31 years old. I do watch a lot of YouTube videos, especially on finances. If you guys just to send a few recommendations, I I mainly watch Money Guy Show is really good. I do watch them a lot. Sven Carlin, I do watch significantly as well. So Sven is a great channel just for fundamental value investing. So yeah, a lot of stuff that I watch out there on YouTube. I do want to, I am very thankful too that we are at where we're at. I recognize some of the opportunities we've had, and we've been very fortunate. We have had a plan for the past 13 years as well, and have been executing that plan every month. And what's the saying? What you focus on, you will succeed at. And again, I think just tracking your net worth every month for 13 years, it's kind of hard not to succeed when you're watching stuff that closely. It's like when you step on the scale every morning and see the number going up or down. Just the simple exercise of stepping on that scale and being aware of where you're at is, I think, half the battle. So yeah, we've done good over the last 13 years. So I'm ready to get to the $2 million mark. We'll see if it's going to be close. I'm not sure if we're going to hit there by the end of the year. It might depend what the market does a little bit. So we're averaging roughly 30,000 a month is our increase. So about 360 to 400,000 a year. So if it's not December or January 1st, it'll probably be February or March of next year. For sure, by March of 2025, 2026, we'll be at that 2 million mark. So if you made it this far in the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Please comment something down below. I am interested in all of your guys' scenarios, where you're at in life, what your net worth is, how things are going for you, what your perspective on the market is, everything. So I do read and respond to pretty much every comment down below, unless it's just insulting, which I never have seen, which is good. So thank you all for sticking in to the end of the video here, and we will see you in the next video in October.